Hello, 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 and welcome back to Divorce Happens, the podcast where we support you before, during, and after divorce with education, inspiration, a little bit of laughter, because as we know, divorce happens and then you start fresh. And we're here with one of our friends here at Fresh Start, Cindy. Cindy, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I'm Cindy DiTiberio. I am a writer. I write the bestselling Substack The Mother Lode, where I kind of unpack motherhood, marriage, and divorce. And I'm writing my own book. I also collaborate with other people and help them write their books as a ghostwriter. And yeah, I love Fresh Starts. Olivia has been key in my own journey, and I've used their experts, and I'm just so grateful for all the work you guys are doing.
Thank you. Well, we're happy you're here because one of the segments that I love doing so much on this show are talking to real people who are real humans, real divorced humans, I like to say, about what they learned from their divorce. So, Cindy, what are the three lessons or things that you learned from your divorce?
The first one that came to mind is just how capable I am. I think as women, as girls, we somehow get conditioned to cede our power and our capability to others, specifically when it comes to things like money. And when you get divorced, all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, all of this is on me. And it can feel terrifying, but I will tell you very quickly, I learned, oh, I'm good at this. I can handle this. I can do this. Right now, I'm doing my taxes for the first time as a single lady, well, for a very long time. And I've got all my documents. I got all my papers. I'm thinking about my deductions. I'm capable. And it's come up so many times where I did not, and specifically around money, I ceded it all to my ex because he did financial stuff for a living. So I was like, of course, it makes sense for him to just take that on. But I lost a lot of power, a lot of insight into what was going on with our finances when I did that. It is one of the biggest mistakes I made in my marriage was not being a collaborative, true partner in understanding our financial situation, our taxes, our mortgage, all the things. And as soon as I left and had to do it on my own, I started to realize, this is, as you do a little research. I'm great at research, by the way. I'm great. I will dig up all the things I need to know. And I did that in divorce. And I'm learning that now with my own
Yeah.
finances. And so we are capable. We've just been taught by the patriarchy to cede power to men because that's how our system works. But we can reclaim it at any time. And even if you're not going through a divorce, take that back. Take it back. It does not belong to them.
No, and what you're describing is so common in a lot of marriages, right? Like that, just kind of, okay, honey, you do it, you do it, you do it, and then you're stuck. So I see it all the time. And it's a conversation I know you write about so beautifully, and you do really, really great research in the mother load, everything, and really, I was actually talking about you the other day and how you talk about how when women have to buy a house or even rent a space right after their divorce, if they are a freelancer, it's almost impossible, and
Yeah.
or part time or whatever. So I've learned so much from you, and I hope that that your journey has inspired a lot of people to learn more and do the research. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So
Yeah,
okay,
and
second
the
thing.
second thing kind of goes along with that. I did not know what a postnuptial agreement was until I went through a divorce, and now this is like one of my biggest things. I just partnered with Eve Rodsky and Fair Play and Aaron Thomas, the prenup guide, to do the Fair Play guide to prenups and postnups,
Love it.
and all of this is to say a postnuptial agreement could have saved me so much time and effort and money in my divorce. And I actually think the things that you talk about in a postnup are the very things I was just referencing. All of the money gets brought to the table. You start to discuss, like, are we paying for things the right way? Should we have separate accounts, joint accounts? Where are all our accounts? And I think that, again, it's one of those things where you bring it all out on the table, all the things you don't want to talk about. We don't want to talk about money. We don't want to necessarily talk about all the financial sacrifices, but I think it goes hand in hand with the fair play discussion, which I talk about so much. It was one of the big there were a lot of reasons for my divorce, but not getting on the same page about labor in the home was a very big one for me. And so what a postnuptial agreement can do, it's so there are two. I've really focused initially on what happens when one of the spouses takes a step back in their career, and therefore needs spousal support, really. And so that has been a big focus of the Fair Play Guide. But also what has been coming out is, well, what if you are doing all the labor at home and you're also the higher earner? Uh-oh, I have to pay him alimony? That makes no sense. And again, so a postnup can either, if you took a step back in your career, you can get a certain number of years of spousal support in there. Or if you do not want to have to be paying your ex alimony, because guess what? They didn't take a step back in career. You've just handled everything at home and been the financial breadwinner. You can put something in there that says no alimony. So again, these are just documents that protect you against a lengthy divorce. They can also be, I think, very, very instructive in your marriage to have the hard conversations and to codify like who's doing what. Do we feel good about this? How can we make it more equitable and feel like each partner is, their work is valued and seen and will be monetized, I guess, in the case of a divorce.
Yeah, what comes up for me when you're talking about that is if you can't have these conversations, that's a big red flag, right?
Yes. Yes, it is. I almost feel like I had written a post called Can a Postnup Save Your Marriage? But I think it can also save you from years of a marriage that you should be out of. Because if those conversations do not go well, it's information. It is information. So, and again, you want
Yeah,
to have those conversations before things are so acrimonious that you don't want to give anything to your spouse. And that's what happens in divorce. All the goodwill is gone.
right.
And so people can be really not very generous with their spouse, even when they've made financial sacrifices or career sacrifices. All that goodwill is gone. So then you fight to the death, and that's expensive and it takes a lot of time.
Absolutely, and a lot of money. Yeah.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. Okay, Cindy, last thing that you learned from your divorce.
I'm just realizing this, but I think there's something that happens when you get divorced. What you're doing is you're saying, I deserve to be treated well. I don't have to keep taking bad treatment. And so there's something so revolutionary in that act. And we do it when we're desperate. I mean, no one gets divorced on a whim. We do it when there's no other option. But when you learn that you can reset the terms in a relationship, it spreads out to other relationships. So now I'm realizing, like, when I'm in a relationship and I don't like how they're treating me, I say, do I want to keep taking this? Or maybe do I want to set some boundaries? And that I didn't expect. Again, I think we've been conditioned to just tolerate, especially if it's family or your spouse, like you just kind of have to forgive and move on, or, well, just don't let it, whatever. And I think I've now seen how destructive taking treatment that did not feel good for so long is. I'm just not willing to put up with it anymore. And that
Yeah,
has been a real gift in my own life outside of my divorce, is to just be like, you know what? If I don't like it, I don't have to take it.
I
I don't
love
have to
that so
take it.
much. So true. It is so true.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? Where can they read your beautiful work?
It's Cindy DiTiberio.substack.com, or you can just put in, well, my last name is hard to spell. So I'll just say The Mother Lode Substack. If you Google
Mhm.
that, you will find me. I'm on Instagram at Cindy.DiTiberio also. Um, and yeah, that's the main place to find me, is on Instagram and Substack. And I'm talking about all these things all the time.
All the
This is
time.
what
Yeah.
I'm focused on. So
Yes, we'll put the links in the show notes, and you have some great conversations happening in your Instagram stories and on your Instagram feed. So, highly, highly recommend. First of all, go and subscribe to the Mother Lode and help support Cindy. And also, check out her Instagram, give her a follow, engage in the conversations because she digs into the stuff that we love to talk about over here. So, we appreciate you so much, Cindy, and for sharing this so, other people can see that you can come out the other side and learn a lot of lessons on the way. So, thank you for being here.
thanks for having me.